Salutations, Dufos. This is your fabulous leader, the Queen of Shade, coming at you with another special presentation, moving right along, talking to amazing, amazing people and having amazing conversations for our benefit and yours. Having said that, I have someone that you need to meet, someone very, very special. So I'm just going to introduce him without further ado. Please help me welcome Mr. Jonathan Gartrelle. Hi.
Hello.
Now we can do it. Hi. How are you today?
I'm great. I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Today was a good day. Today is much better than yesterday, and I love it. And things are going really, really well. Where are you hailing us from?
Miami. I'm in Southeast Miami. This is where I live now, and I'm loving it. I'm thinking about long term.
Okay. No, I'm in Philadelphia, so we're both on the East Coast.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, because you kept giving me California time, but yes, I'm ready.
No, I was like, because I have to say when I'm booking, I have to say, because a lot of people are on California time, so I have to say, 3 p.m., 4:15, 5:30, 12 noon, 1:15, 2:30. Like, so crazy. They keep me busy. But I'm so glad that you are here.
Oh, I'm thrilled, and thanks for having me on your platform. I've seen your interviews. I see what you do. I love what you do, and it looks like it's going incredible for you right now. So
it
so
is. I'm like, it is, and I'm so happy. You made me smile really hard. I'm so thankful. Because one of my gifts is resiliency. My grandmother calls me the Phoenix, and sometimes in this industry, I've been in this industry for 20 years, and a lot of that time was spent behind the scenes. The Queen of Shade is only 6 years old, and this has been in front of the camera, and it's going so well, and I'm just so grateful. Like, I was trying not to think about it because I cry. I don't want to mess up my makeup, right. I have to say it. I'm
right.
So grateful. And I'm so thankful for people like you and other people who lend their voices to my platform. And this is helping me. Let's say it, let's call it what it is. You guys are helping me get to whatever my next level is to be, what it is to become, where I'm to go. And I have to say thank you to you and, everyone like you that just is rooting for me, because I've got haters, but there are a lot of people rooting for me. A lot.
And you are at every opportunity. You are just it up.
Thank you. I can't help it. This is my time.
As you should. That's right. It is your time. You go for it.
So, okay, now we've got to get them into who Mr. Jonathan Gartrelle is. So tell us, you live in East Miami now. Where are you from originally?
I'm from New York City, born and raised, Jamaica. So, up in the north where you are, got that same kind of northeast coast thing going on. I lived there until I was college age. Then I went on to school in Los Angeles in California. Spent half a year in China, a year and a half in Japan, and landed in Philadelphia for a little bit, and then ended up back in Miami.
Wow. So you were here and I didn't know you. But listen, Philly's a big place. People don't think Philly's a big place. There, every year we have this thing, and I'm sure you were here to see it. Outfest. Do you remember Outfest?
I was only there for 6 months.
Okay, so it might not have been that time, but yeah. It's in October. And every time I go to an Outfest, I look around and I start screaming. I'm like, where are you people from? Because there's not this many gay people in my in my city. Where are all of you from?
No, I know that's right. They're flying them in. And
it's just I'm like, what? If we it's hundreds of thousands of people there. And I'm like, if we had this kind of presence, we could do so much more. Right. And I'm just like, and get this, T.S. Madison, whom I love and adore. She was recently, I think at the end of last year, she was recently in Philadelphia. She appeared at a club, and it was more than a club. It was this whole gala kind of event. Child, I'm a Philadelphian. I've been here all my life. I had never heard of the club. I'm like, what club is that? Where is that club? I'm like I was like, what? Like, and I did, and my thing is, I have been out of the circuit for a long time. I have. So I'm thinking, okay, did new club owners come? New clubs pop up? And then my friends are like, no, they just renamed it. And I'm like, oh, new management. Okay. Like it just took me by surprise.
But also, Philly's the kind of place where you kind of have to know things, right? Like you got to know where to go because I'm from New York. People will tell you, I'm like, where are the gay people? They're like, over there. Like nobody's got to tell you. But in Philly, I got the feeling, like I said, I was only there for 6 months. You got to know somebody to know stuff.
Yep. That's absolutely right. You are absolutely right. And Philly, they will not tell you. They will look at you like,
right.
Why do you want to know?
Right. Yeah. You know what? That was because we're from New York. We think we're hard, and it was when I was a flight attendant, and I had got Philadelphia as my base with my other homegirl who's from New York. So we decided to make a pact to commute to Philly every day 2 hours to do our airport job because we didn't want to give up our homes.
Right.
And we were like, we're New Yorkers. We got this. We'll take the bus. Like, ain't nothing that can scare us. We get off the bus in our little flight attendant uniforms, and the first thing I see at 4 a.m. is 2 taxi drivers punching each other for a fare. I was like, Philly don't play that. I was like, okay.
Oh, no.
Philly don't play no games.
I'm so sorry you had to see that. And even me, I'm like, what?
I was like, damn, no, but
like a person standing there and they're fighting over who's going to.
No, they had long gone. It was, I'm sure, there that somebody tried to get first and the other person couldn't get it.
Yeah, they are like that. They are like that. There's a line. Yeah. There's a line. And
right.
They hate me too, because what I'll do is I'm an empath too, shaman. So I come out of the airport or traveling and I will look at the taxi driver and I'll just feel it, not that one. And I'll just go to the, Yeah. Excuse me. And they do get mad. They get mad. Like I was here first. I was the next in line. And I just get in the car. I just put my sunglasses. on. I'm like, are we going to sit here and take this, or are you going to take me? And the person's like, oh, I'll take you. Yeah. Yeah. But that's also Philly, because Philly, like, I don't give a fuck. You ain't going to do nothing to me.
Right. Let's go.
Quick. Yeah, quick. So tell me, so what did you major in school? What was college?
So I really wanted to go to school for diplomacy. I wanted to be a diplomat.
Okay.
But the more I learned about how government actually works, the more I learned about foreign affairs, the more I saw the corruption. I was like, I'm either going to go great fighting it or I'm going to give into it. I was like, I'm not ready for all that. But I went to school and I studied Mandarin and Japanese, and then I minored in French and Spanish.
Wow. That's right. I think I did see that. I think that's how I came across, because you were speaking in 4 different languages.
Yes, something like that.
Yeah. Now I got to put you to the test. I love this. Say, today is a lovely day in 4 languages.
Okay, so English, right? Today is a lovely day. Japanese, 今日は素晴らしいな。Chinese, 今天天气非常好。Aujourd'hui c'est plus belle in French, and muy bueno. Oye, qué linda.
Wow. See, I'm freaking out here. This is what social media does not understand, is that we have some superstars on this media. And it's such a disservice when they go, oh, but how many likes they got? How many followers they got? It's like, bitch, do you not realize who this is? Like, fuck a like, fuck a follow. Like, are you kidding me? This person it's important. This person does things in the world. You're sitting here tapping with your thumbs, and this person does things in the world. That was why I asked you to come on, because I saw recently you, like, first of all, before we jump into it, I just want to say you're highly active in activism work and, community work like that. I see that, and we're definitely going to talk about that. But I just love that. Like, even when I came to your page, it was very uplifting. It was very much, I love all, we can be here, we can make it. That was the message. And get it, it wasn't a message that you were saying, it was a message that I was seeing through your photos. your photos were like, hey, we love each other. We gotta love each other. We gotta be here. And it's kind of funny. I did this to my friend the other day because he was like, I wanted to be an engineer. And I said, you're still an engineer because you engineered your life. And it's the same way with you. You wanted to be a diplomat. You're still a diplomat because your diplomacy is being used each and every single day with everything that you do. So,
you're so thank you. You hit the nail on the head. And that's actually what I turned around and thought to myself. I was like, I thought I was going to be negotiating on behalf of the American people. Turns out I did.
Yep. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. So, yes, indeed. You did. And you are. And that is so amazing. So tell me, okay, so you said China, Japan, France was the other?
No. French. Oh, where did I live?
Yeah.
Place I lived. Oh, then the rest were inside the US.
Okay.
Los Angeles and a little bit of Philadelphia, New York City, of course.
Okay. So what took you to China? Like we know, but I want you to say it. What took you to China and Japan and kept you there?
I had always been interested in first Japanese culture from a young age, and then it like kind of spread to the East Asian area of studies. Yeah. The first thing that really drew me, of course, is that their perception of homosexuality is different. And so a young gay Black person who's hearing, this is wrong and this is wrong and this is wrong, and hear about a country with samurai, they're noble warriors that have boyfriends, you kind of get interested in that.
Yeah.
So, that's kind of what drew me over there. And of course, I will say that in Asia, it's not like, gay people have rights like we have rights, because we have certain rights, but it is not a lifelong battle of persecution for them like it is over here. Yeah. Like, I mean, and I can only speak to the places that I lived, I can't speak to other communities, but in China and Japan, they're like, okay, you're gay, that's weird. But like, they don't think you have cooties, they don't touch you, So it was a space that I felt I could more be myself. And then as I got older and I encountered racism, I visited Japan many times because it was a way to take myself out of this black and white dichotomy and to develop myself as a young human as I wanted to be, not how people stereotype me.
That is so beautiful, because even with me, I got the opportunity to live in France for 6 months. Like, I recommend, especially for the Black man, that he lives somewhere else, travel, see Europe, see see the Eastern countries, because it just changes your perspective on everything. You realize the world is so, like, listen, people, like, I look at my neighbors sometimes or I'll hear things, or they're fighting and bickering, and I don't even get involved because I'm looking like, honey, are you kidding?
Right.
The parks in Paris, are you kidding? Like, overseas. Like, are you kidding? Like, the world is so large. And if you knew what I knew, you wouldn't even pay that no mind. You wouldn't even pay that no mind. And that's, it's actually why I'm preparing to take my empire overseas again, because I loved Paris. I left my heart there, but I'm even looking into the Spanish countries, because it's just like, yeah, it's time to go. It's time to go. It is time to go. I'm tired of like you said, I'm tired of the black and white thinking. And I'm also tired of the daily persecution.
Yeah. Yeah. It's hard. It's hard for no reason, especially you and I relate on so many levels, but you also have a full female side. Yeah. And that's like, that compounds it so much more. Yep. So like, I imagine what you're going through.
Exactly. Like, it's so crazy because I haven't been able to work here like this. I haven't been able to work here. I can't work here. I can't.
Right.
And that's the thing, which is why I'm so thankful for the internet, because it allowed me to reach my people around the world. It allowed my presence to be felt in other areas of the world, because I don't like it's so crazy, because my neighbors, they're all straight men and they love me. And that is something that is not common. And I remember one day I was going to the mailbox, and I work like this all the time. But I like, even right now, my curtains are drawn. I'm just doing what I have to do, in my space, my own space. But I went to the mailbox, and I ran out, grabbed the mail, and I was stressed. And I ran back in, and my neighbor, I saw him be like, hey, 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 calling me. And I just ran in and shut the door. So he waited. And then a couple of days later, I'm out there, and I'm in my bald head, shaved head, and my boy clothes. And he was like, I saw you the other day. And I was like, yeah, okay, like sheepishly. And he's like, why did you run? You looked amazing. And this is a straight man. Yeah, this is a straight man. And he's like, you look amazing. And I'm like, I'm scared to leave the house like this. He's like, I understand. But he was like, you can leave the house right here. You see these four corners right here? You fine, right? Because we're here,
Right.
So yeah, and it's been that way. I'm bringing on some men that are actually straight, that have supported me over the years, and patronize my business of mentoring and things like that, because like, I don't work here. Like, it's just what I do is just not the way that I do it, because most people, oh, are you trans? And I'm like, no, I'm not trans. I'm a trans illusionist.
Right.
Cross-dresser,
Right.
And they're like, oh, well, why do you do that? Is that for them? And I'm like, actually, no. We always have to explain. Right. So that's another thing. You don't have to explain overseas. I felt that. I had long hair. They didn't say nothing. It was just, So I'm like, well, is this for your job? And I'm like, no, this is actually something I've been doing since I was 8 years old.
Right.
But
for you.
Yeah, but I felt that it would be better served if I came to the camera and did it as well. And it's just not. So tell me, over there, did you find love? Did you experience love? Or not even love, but a boyfriend? Or, like, what was it like? Because you went there, to find that. Are the men beautiful? Tell me.
Overseas. Okay, well, actually, I have to admit that I was a total dog, and that was the whole point of me going over there.
Yeah.
Because I was only going there for about a year and a half.
Yeah.
And so, cut me some slack, I was 22.
Yeah.
I would take every visiting tourist on the same date over and over. We're going to eat here. We're going to go to this party. We're going to end at the Ferris wheel in Odaiba. It was great to see you. Love you. Bye. Kiss, kiss. We're going to eat here. Every 2 weeks, new guy, same date. So that's what I was there. But, and I also didn't date any Japanese men.
Right.
Which is interesting, because when I would go over there and I was visiting, I would date Japanese men, but I was really trying not to stay there, So I was like, no, if I date a Japanese person and I fall in love, I'll get off the track. But I mean, the men were lovely. The men were fantastic. What's very funny about Japan is that the in style when I was there was a little bit more androgynous. So the main theme for any person is slim, reasonably tall, enough hair to do stuff with. So that's boys and girls. So when I first landed in Kabukicho and I was looking for the neighborhood, I walked up to this tall, pretty guy. He had on makeup, and he had big hair with barrettes in it, and he had a tight shirt and a vest, and and I was like, hey, where's the neighborhood? And he was like, why would I know? And I was like, what do you mean? And he was like, I'm a host. And what the hosts are dream boys. So they have entire clubs of hosts and hostesses. And so he was the epitome of what Japanese women would pay to sit down and talk to. I got it all wrong.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my God.
So
yeah, keep telling more. So
so the gay over there is not constrained, because they did not so strictly as we did in the West be men are this way and women are that way. I mean, they do in their own ways. I'm not an expert in Japanese culture. women have their issues. I'm not gonna, but because the sex and gender didn't go so strict,
right?
The clothing didn't go so strict. The it was so much toxic masculinity that a man couldn't wear makeup, that a man can't have glitter. So it was just kind of normal. And the guys that we're gay, because everyone in Japan dresses well, so it's like fine. So that, you know, you wouldn't pick them out in the street. You wouldn't know.
Wow. But you know what I love? I love that you wouldn't pick them out, not because of their mannerism, but because the culture around them supports,
Right.
uplifts, embraces,
Right.
shields them. I remember this term. Kai was one of them. And then the study of beauty, it was kalology, I believe.
Mm.
It was the study of beauty over there.
Mm.
And Kai, like it was about androgyny and beauty. And like even in Paris, I saw some of the models that came from Japan, and those guys, breathtaking.
Yeah.
I tell you, just breathtaking, like just absolutely beautiful. And you know, I think the entire Western world has been obsessed or drawn or in love with that Japanese beauty. You know, like it's something that is so rare. It's something that is so rare. And you're right, we don't see it here.
Well, we have a set. We don't celebrate. I guess we're getting to, but now we don't celebrate typically masculine beauty. It's like kind of put down. If you're pretty boy is an insult in America.
Nope.
That's someone when you're being rude. Yep. So they don't, you know, masculine beauty in China and Japan, and I mean Korea. You can say like men are expected to take care of themselves. You know, to put their face, to dress nicely, to smell good. And so you have a culture of different beauty because no one's shaming them for it.
Yeah. See, I remember my dentist, when I met my dentist a couple of years ago, and I spoke to him for the first time, and I went, not like this, of course, me and my bald head and then my little boy clothes. And he kept looking at me every time I spoke. And he said to me, he was like, "Do you sing?" And I was like, "Yes, I sing." And he was like, "I'd love to hear your music." So, you know me, I work for myself. I'm an entrepreneur. So I said, "Oh, say no, say less." Pull out my phone, go to iTunes. And then that voice comes out and he's like, "I thought so." And that's what he said. And I'm looking, because, you know, we're a little sensitive over here because of all of the, like you said, gender norms and all of the punishment. And he said to me, "You need to go to China." And I was like, yeah, he said China. And that's what okay. So, you know, you said they will love you.
You won't be able to stop the pictures.
That's what he said. And he said, mind you, there's like millions of people. He was like, you would come up that fast. You would not need to worry. And that's why he let me know, like, I love Paris and I'm going to work there, but you can bet your ass I'm going to the Asian countries. You can bet your ass. You can bet your ass. And he even went as far as, I didn't believe him. So I kind of shrugged off the opportunity, but he was like, "I would love to help fund you to get there." He was like, because he had been my dentist for some years. He saw the evolution of me. And then online, he was like, I would love to back you. He was like, "I'd make my money back in no time."
Yeah.
And I was like, and I came home and I told my grandmother, I was like, "China." And she was like, "Really?" I'm like, "Yeah." He said, "China."
I mean, look, I'll say go to Japan first, just because like you know, visa rules, and like also there are things that you can and can't do that Americans don't know. Like when I lived in China, I had a host family, and then all had like a special friend at the university that was assigned to us. And at first I was like, "Oh, cool, they gave us a friend." But like also they gave us someone to be like, "Don't say that, don't write that, don't put that on the internet." You know, so there's some things that we just don't know.
Yeah.
But in Japan, it's free range. And like I said, nothing against them and their system of government. Like, I don't talk shit about nobody because we have our own problems. But like, I was writing a song for my final project about the one-child policy. And, you know, I was like, in 1812, like Senator Joe or whatever. And she said, "You cannot put the name and the date in this sentence. It is a school project." And I was like, "It's just the song." She said, "Let's keep it light." Right. So you got to keep it light.
Yeah, but you know what I love? But this is the thing that we are all drawn to the Asian cultures for. There's such
Yeah.
there's such beauty in their tradition.
Because what are we, 200 years old over here? That ain't nothing.
I think
Like,
it's 400.
you're right. Right.
We're 400. But even then, but that's the point. But you just said it, Jonathan. The point is we're only 400 years old and we go to cultures that are thousands of years.
Yeah. There are lineages older than America in China.
Yes.
Like,
and we try to tell them what they should be. You should be like
no.
us.
Yeah, I'm telling you, I mean, I have a big spot in my heart for China after living there because they demonize it. So like people over here demonize it so much, but when you live there, you hear the same news that we're saying, China did this, China did that. They just cut out China and put America. It's the same propaganda.
Wow.
So they're saying the stereotype, same like government lies. Some are true, some are overblown.
Wow.
And there are countries just like us. They commit war atrocities just like we do. It's not like their people are like living in servitude and slavery as we would have it pictured.
Right.
And I just think it's, like America, like we said, is only 400 years old. The Western world messed up China with the open war, stole all their stuff, and then tried to tell them that they couldn't burn coal. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's messed up.
As you were speaking about that, I was just I'm going to catch flack for this, but even being an American, I'm not proud to be an American.
And you know what? And I think that this goes into our activism, like the activism discussion. I've decided the type of American I'm going to be and like push that out and like push that branding. Because you're right. The branding that we have right now is bullshit.
Yeah.
And it's very funny because actually when I went to China and when I was living there, Obama had just become president. And so the way people treated me was incredible.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh my God, it's baby Obama. Look, like, so they were so wonderful and open-hearted and sweet.
Right. And that is like, I'm trying not to make it political. That's what I'm doing.
My whole thing is political. I go there. Everything I do.
I'm just, because but I'm just not happy here. And get this, I was in France. It was 2005. Katrina had just happened. And I learned a very valuable lesson. And that's when I've said, this ain't good. That's the first time. Katrina was all over the televisions. And I mean cameras in Louisiana. Louisiana is underwater. Helicopters over water, luring people up on ropes from their roofs. Like, this is what was being seen in Paris every day. And I remember my friend took me to dinner and he introduced me to some of his, because they got it over there. It's a very rich, wealthy society. And so that's why I'm going back to France, because it ain't gonna take me that long to I belong. So
that's right.
Right. So we're sitting there, and for my benefit, they spoke English to me. They didn't have to, but they did. And that was sad too, because they said, oh, we all learned English in school. Y'all didn't learn our language, but we learned yours in school. And all of us do it. All of us know it, but we choose not to speak to you, Right. And so that's what was going on. But they looked at me and they said, why isn't your president? And so it was Bush at that time. Why isn't your president in Louisiana helping out? And this was my response. I said, to be honest, I don't know, but he's not my president. I didn't vote for him. They looked at me and said, aren't you American? I said, yes, I'm American. They said, he's your president. Everywhere you go, whether you voted him or not, it's still a reflection on you.
That's right.
And I was like it just changed my perspective, because literally, like you said, when Obama got into office, Black men were being treated a certain way around the world. It wasn't just America. Like,
they made a holiday.
Mm-hmm.
In his home country of Canada. They made, his family's home, father's home, but it was important for everyone. My teachers cried. I've never seen like people cry
Yeah.
at an election. You know, of course, you know, the interns that work there that like crunch all the numbers, but like regular people in a room watching it cry, I was shocked.
Yeah.
So it was,
I cried.
yeah,
I was working at a phone sex place. I was with all these girls and they turned on the camera, turned on the TV. And I remember listening to his speech, and I just knew it was going to get better because he said, you know, good evening, America, Black, white, gay, lesbian, straight, disabled. I remember that in his speech. He included everyone. And for the first time in my life, I felt a part. And I just stood there and cried. We all cried. But I remember the footage of his re-election, because that was close. So the re-election, I remember they panned to Africa, and you had little Black boys jumping up and down, and there were fireworks going off. And I realized, I don't know how they did it, but America rose to be the superpower around the world. And it was like, and my attitude with that, realizing that, was, then we need to do better, because they're looking
right.
at us. They're looking at us. They're treating their people because they want to be like us. They want to do what we do. So it's like, you know, I don't think America at a government level really understands the gravity of what their policy decisions do. It doesn't just affect the American people. It affects.
Oh no, they do. Oh yeah. I mean, look, and that's why I said I don't talk bad about China's government, because I don't talk bad about the American government, because they're all friends up there. At that level, they're all friends.
Yeah.
Like, you know, their kids are going to good school and their kids are not bad air.
Yeah.
So they know when they're selling us out, but that's why I did not become a diplomat, because it was either I was going to sell everybody out, or I was going to fight for 3 years, you know, and do all this stuff and then get driven out.
Right.
So,
thank you for not selling us out.
yeah.
So now, moving into your activism, please start. And I want you to roll out the a la carte. Tell us everything you do and what you do and how you do.
Okay, so right now I'm working with this group called Decriminal 5. This is actually one of our shirts. That's "Fuck You, Pay Me."
Yeah.
It is for the benefit of sex workers, and basically decriminalization. Decriminalization and not legalization. There's a difference. And the reason why I'm really involved in this is because I mean, like you just said, you were doing, you know, phone sex.
Yeah.
Everybody knows somebody in this industry.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't talk about it. And I mean, you've had a couple of guys on your show, Adrian Hart, you know, like and of course now I've just admitted that, like, I love Adrian Hart. Look at me. But when the boys are out there, it's yay, clap, 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 clap. But the women are out there and they can't call the police on their johns, because what they're doing is illegal. They face physical violence, they face being raped, they face being drugged. And so I thought that that was really important, like, as a man that benefits from sexual energy being towards me, to say that, hey, there are other people that have to go through this, that because they don't have a dick and they don't have muscles, are being punished where I would be celebrated. And that's really fucked up.
Yeah, I agree. That is, and I love the way you said that, the decriminalization, not necessarily legalization.
Right.
Yeah, I know, because even I know some transgender, you know, women, beautiful women, that when they are arrested for, you know, getting caught for prostitution or for, you know, body, in some states is what they call it, and they put them in with the men.
Right. Horrible things that do to them.
And I was getting ready to say, and one of them told how she woke up and she was being raped. And I'm like, what?
Yeah.
It's not. Mm-mm.
It's terrible. And the thing is that, as we've seen with the gay rights movement, and what happened here, from my own personal experience here down with George Floyd, sex workers, because of the amount of money that they can get, because of their familiarity with getting arrested, how to get arrested, why you get arrested, and because they work different hours, they don't have a day job, oftentimes are at the front of these revolutions. Oftentimes are the people handing extra money, bailing people out of jail, because they know how that goes down. You know, so I think it's really important to stand by the people that stood by.
Yeah.
And that entire time that I was out there marching for George Floyd, it was that had my back. So when that, I was like, I got to turn around and make this my thing now.
Yeah. No, I agree, because that was the thing. Like, I didn't march. I was scared of COVID, and then I ended up catching it after being
I saw.
you know, it was a mess. But the crazy thing is, my fear was, and I did a couple podcasts about it, talking about it, and I was vehemently upset and angry. But my thing was, I didn't want to serve on the front lines of Black Lives Matter, marching Black Lives Matter, and then after Black Lives Matter was over, I get beat the hell down by the men,
Right.
you know,
Right.
for being what I am. And, you know, I just, it was very hard. We all spoke about it. We're like, you know, do all Black lives matter? Like, that was the question. Do all Black lives matter? Because I know you say Black Lives Matter, but do you,
right,
just heterosexual? Like, and get this, I've encountered, like, even recently, I have this beautiful platform, beautiful people such as yourself coming on here. We're having amazing conversations, we're talking, and literally I had, like, the other night, it's the first time, because I stay up on my comments. I curate everything about my empire, so I do not leave negative comments, but I read them before I discharge them
right.
and block the person for life. So I read, and the one woman was like, I'm going to get canceled for this, but excuse me, I'm going to get canceled for this, but I think I need to let you know that you're a man.
I mean, what's the point? And you know, it's so sad, because we had, and sadly, I've learned that this is what happens, right? There's a massive outcry. Now, this was the largest civil rights outcry in the history of the world. There were protests everywhere.
Yeah.
But there's an outcry, and you know, 1 million people are in the streets, then 500,000, then a quarter, then 1,000, then then it goes down. But one of the things was very hard, because it we felt that we needed, like, kind of like to make sure there was Black female leadership and you know, Black queer leadership, but it was hard to bring those elements together with Black men, because you know, there were strong Black men who, you know, who were men who wanted to protect their stuff and their this and their that, and stand up for their rights. But also, we, the Black queers and the Black females, suffer police violence and Black man violence. So like you said, that's a conversation that we have to have, but in an environment that is so tense, no one wants to have it, or no one can have it right then, because you know, we're fighting them, so we can't fight right now, but I still got beef with you, and like, it's a recipe for disaster.
Yeah, because after I'm done with them, I'm gonna turn on you.
Right, exactly. Now you and I got a problem, and then that's what happened, is that everybody's little, you know, prejudices slipped out here and there, and then this broke off into that, and those people went and did that, but we got the damn thing done. You know, all of us out here stopping how we got them indicted. Yeah. And that's needed to see. And now we're seeing a pattern of police getting indicted and cases being reopened. And that's what we did that for. And that's perfect.
Do you agree with this statement? Because I felt this, but I'm open to learning. Even when we were marching, I'm a very intelligent person, and I'm very in tune. I felt like nothing was going to get done until we had white allies with us. I felt like if it was just all Blacks, I felt like nothing would have been done, and that there would have been more violence. But because the police were also victimizing and brutalizing white allies, who were then the faces of these newscastings and things like that, that's what brought the visuals, you know, the visualization of what was going on. I felt like I'm asking because I felt like, and I kept saying it, it's not going to change till white allies stand up and say, this is not okay. How do you feel about that?
It's an absolute unfortunate truth, but it's also, I mean, it's hard to say take your feelings out of it, because you and I are Black people.
Yeah.
But like, let's do the math, right? We're 13% of the country.
Yeah.
So if 30% wants to abuse 13%, yeah, the 13% alone can't do nothing about it. You know, it's somebody's got to come off that other side. And I think that it's important that we remember, like, and God, it's like nobody's rubbing white people on the back for not being racist or doing the bare minimum, but there were people that wanted to end slavery. There were white people that risked their lives, you know, helping hide Black people and smuggle them out there, get them to freedom. And like, if you risk your life for another human being, you're a hero. Like, it doesn't matter if it's what's right, because we've seen a lot of people just not do what's right.
Yeah.
You've got to take the initiative. So it's like, I love being Black. I'm a Black person. I have Black culture. I'm Black and Black and Black. I love it. I'm Black, but we are human. We are human. And when we forget that part, and when the white person is not helping, when the man isn't helping because I can become a superstar for sex money, getting her ass whooped, and I look away, that's when I forget.
Yeah.
It's important to be like, above all the things, like, this is what's important. We are human together. We got to remember.
You are amazing.
You are too kind, Mike.
No, we're going to continue, but you're amazing, because this is not on CNN. It should be. Do you understand what I'm saying, Jonathan? You should be on CNN. And because it's like, what Americans, oh my God, it makes me emotional. I didn't even think. They try to control so much of what we see.
Yeah.
What we hear. We are the country that's supposed to have freedom of speech, freedom of press, freedom of religion. And they literally curtail the news to fit what Fox News, okay, I'm calling them out. Fox News, when Trump was in office and he was saying that, you know, the election was stolen from him, Fox News got behind him. They pushed that propaganda. And I just was like, oh my God. I was it scared me, because I was like, where the fuck am I living where this is happening? Like, I remember, Jonathan, watching CNN, and Trump hated CNN.
Of course.
CNN was like, you know, they were like, listen, they were on the ground. She was like, I got hit with rubber bullets by the police. I was not doing nothing. And they hit me and we got it on camera. Like, yeah, I had a panic attack because I couldn't believe where I was. And then that was the thing. We're glued to it, watching it every moment of the day, all day. And it was just like, I got so scared. I'm like, and the thing is, I'm a shaman. So, you know, I'm more so I don't have a religion, but my spiritual practices are more so what my ancestors' practices were. We believe in the divine, and we believe in ancestral help and spiritual help. And with me being too spirited, the shaman, the oracle, the prophet, the seer, the healer, is very easy for me. So, you know, I'm sitting there and I'm watching all of this, and I'm just like, and I love that you brought this up, because I went to, listen, I started in the projects, and then my grandmother moved me from the projects because I was getting my ass beat for this voice and my mannerisms. So then she moved me to the suburbs, and it wasn't that the abuse stopped. The physical violence stopped, but I was still taunted, bullied, and abused verbally and emotionally by Caucasians and other people in the suburbs. So it still continued. It still continued. But my thing was, I have Caucasians I love. They're my friends. They really love me. They've helped me, you know? And I love that you said that not every, you know, Caucasian is racist, like really racist. But the thing is, it's that majority, Jonathan. Like, I got really scared the other day because I was watching some news program, and there was a Caucasian man on it, and he was an ally. And he was talking about why we were criminalized. And he was like, you know, you want to call us barbarians and savages and this is that and the other. And he just opened the floodgates on that show. He was like, you want to talk about savages? Y'all stole these people. Y'all made these people rape each other. Y'all made these people mothers and sleeping with, like, he just went off. And he's like, you want to call savages? Look at what you did. You desecrated an entire civilization of people to where 400 years later, they're still fucked up. And then you turned them loose with no help. And he was like, the Holocaust survivors got millions of dollars from the government. Asian Americans, millions of dollars after Hiroshima and Nagasaki. They got millions of help. They could come here. There are programs in place. And I know this for myself. My grandmother went to get her nails done one day. There was a Asian woman that she loved to get her, have this woman do her nails. This woman offered like luxury service kind of stuff. But it wasn't, it was more than what most naileries offered, but it was for the experience. But my grandmother would go there, and this woman said, now mind you, she owns a business, Jonathan, she owns a business, a successful business, this nailery place. And she says, oh, I have to go into surgery. Something's wrong with like my ovaries. I have to have this major surgery. And my grandmother was like, oh my God, are you going to be, and she was not racist. So she was like, she could talk openly to my grandmother. So she's like, my grandmother's like, oh my God, like, how are you going to make money? You're going to be down. You're going to be out with this surgery and this is that and the other. And the woman said, and my grandmother and I both, she said, welfare paid for the surgery. She said, I applied for health care through welfare and they're paying for the surgery. The surgery was $150,000. And yet she owned a business, a successful business. But you gripe and complain at the mother that, yes, she could have been more conscientious with her body, but there still really is limited resources. You complain about the little 102.52 something you give her, but you paying hundreds of thousands of dollars for a woman with a business who could afford to pay this herself. Make it make sense.
Well, we've seen welfare fraud, and we've seen that the majority, I think, of welfare users have been proven to be white. Yeah. And like it's this, story that they tell to keep us down. But I'm gonna say, what's the opposite of top, bottom, right?
Yeah.
What's the opposite? Black, white. That's it. You need to, if you don't pin us down and keep your foot on my neck, you have no one to be supreme over. So everyone has to be complicit in this, because if they don't, it'll, the poorest white man still is treated society better than us. And like, let's not get crazy, right? We have disabled people that are suffering PTSD, people that are broken, poor out there, and the system has failed them. But the point is, once again, the system didn't target them. It may fail you, but it does not target you specifically. And in order for white supremacy to work, you must be supreme over something. So they've got to keep us down, and they've got to keep the narrative that way, and they have to keep forcing this story, and they have to keep dividing us. It's necessary for them, for those of the white people that are like that.
Yeah. It's unfortunate, because even as you were speaking, you're right. The poorest white man is still better than the most affluent Black man.
Right. If just looked at, if like once again, I'm not talking about, crazy guy Raylan who's clearly going through something, but we've seen like Black businessmen and lawyers arrested in their own home for walking into their own houses.
Yeah. And honestly, I've seen it happen in my life. It didn't matter what he did. If he was white, he was white. And the color of his skin meant that he was going to have more opportunities than I would.
Yeah. That's how it goes.
Yeah. And this is the thing, like, I love my Caucasian friends, I love them, but that's why even on my page, now mind you, I've been brutalized. We talked about that in the beginning. I've been brutalized by Black men all of my life. And yet and still somewhere in my belt's pulling, there we go. Somewhere in my life and in my psychosis, I started showing Black and Latin men of ethnicity, because I wanted to support them, because I felt like even in my business of entertainment and fashion, they're not recognized. We don't see a representation. And I'm gonna be honest, the Black men in fashion look like me.
Right.
They look like me. And my thing is, let's be honest, I'm a blouse, so that's a feminine top, but this ain't sleeping with people like me. We sleeping with the opposite.
Right.
Balance it out.
Right.
Like, how can we use them, just like you said, for their sexual gratification and want to dismiss the man, period? And that's what's happening.
And that's the truth. And it's, like, it sucks, because it's wonderful that people can get wealth and accrue things, and it really is reparations, get their money back. But at the end of the day, like, the BBC, that's why they called the BBC, it's just a fantasy. It has nothing to do with the person. It has nothing to do with the human being. You know, no one's ever like, oh, I like this guy. It's always like, I love BBC. I love BBC. So even when it is something that is celebrated, it's fetishized and commoditized, and it is the object that is cared for as opposed to the entire human.
Yeah. And that's why I brought on all of my buddies that were adult film stars, because I wanted to show their humanity. These people got to pay their bills. These people got to pay bills just like you and me. And and then my thing was, why would we want to condemn them? The sex industry is $1 billion industry. It's not them. They didn't get $1 billion. It's the people patronizing the business.
I would say it can't exist unless you're watching it. So how can people be upset? Like, it wouldn't be, I mean, and this is because I work mostly with people that work in person. And like, how can you criminalize, and let's be real, like the gays will get away with it. The danger for a gay escort is not so much physical violence as it is like drug addiction or drug overdose. That's something, you know, that has to be talked about. But for the women, you know, they got to screen, they got to make sure this person has an ID, put their number into this app that lets you know if he beat someone up before, you know, tell their friend to wait in this place. And it's like, all of that would be fine if that female or femme person could just call the damn cops or let the hotel staff know what the hell was going on. And it would just discourage these, because what happens is these nasty men know that these women can't call. They know that they will go to jail. And so they take the opportunity to abuse or to get freebies or to rob them. And it's just like, that's sickening.
I love that you just brought this to my platform, because that right there, you know, everybody was looking at the gay man. Yes. And we were looking at transgenders. Yes. But women
out here risking it all, my friend, out here risking it all, like, with these psychopaths who are like sending them their license plate numbers and all this bullshit, like, for something that they want and could afford if they wanted that. But really what they want is to terrorize the woman who cannot go to the police.
Yeah. And you know, they say it's the oldest profession in the book, on the planet, in the book.
That's, I mean, sex has been used to get things. We use sex to get things every day. You know it. I know it. We all know it. And that's why I hate that the ones that are doing full service and the women that are doing full service are getting all this shit cast. Because, you know, I worked at a bar before that. I was a stripper before that. I have this sex. I've done it all. But we know I can bat my eyelashes and get a drink. Like, we all flirt. We all put sexuality out there sometimes to get something in return. It is transactional.
Yes.
Hopefully, and often the transaction is love for love and pleasure for pleasure.
Yeah.
But sometimes in this country, in this world, it's not. And we've all seen the pairings where it is not. And like, let's not play like someone who's married to the person. Okay, so one person is salaried and one person is hourly. Like, let's not play.
Yeah. You're absolutely right. Because that was also when I started, like, I've been celibate for 10 years, but, you know, focusing on my career, I knew that it would be difficult for me to entertain in my space because I didn't want to be victimized. That was the thing. And it wasn't necessarily because I work out. So it wasn't necessarily, and I'm very strong. So it wasn't necessarily the physicality of it. It was the violence of it. Like, I didn't want the robbery. I didn't want the violence, you know, and then because I'm just going to say this, I'm not a monogamous person. I'm not a monogamous person by nature.
Good for you. You don't have to be.
Yeah, I'm not. So, you know, it just didn't make sense that I should be risking my life for pleasure, you know, like it just didn't. So I did what was called transmutation. So I just took that energy from the sexual desire in because I have a very high sex drive, very. So what I did was I put it into my work, and you could tell I've done a lot.
You are working.
Okay, that's because a bitch is hard up. So now,
that's what's fun about it. And it's also, like I said, it's once again because you have both sides. It's because someone would want to hurt you for that, and that is so fucked up. Because no one, like, of course, yes, you know, you fight with lovers, but no lover ever thought he could just put his hands on me. Like, and just thought that it was gonna rock, you know?
No, child, I will snatch his wig off so fast. I
Right,
would snatch
right.
his wig off so fast. And that's the thing though, but that's what also I want to bring up too, is because even in our culture, the violence between, because it's not a man and a woman, it's two men. So you're fighting. I just read about some man being choked out and killed by his partner
That
over
video
a
game.
video game. And I'm like, and get this, see, and this is why I love my platform, because when I speak, people listen. So I commented under one of the posts about it, and the actual man's friends, the man who died, his friends commented back to me, and they were filling me in personally on the story, and they were like, listen, he was always that abusive. We always told our friend that he should leave him alone, that it wasn't, what it should be, that he was violent and he should go away from him. And they said, well, he would hit us back, but I love him. And I said to them, well, look what love got.
Yeah. I mean, it's awful that these situations carry, but like we said, at the root of this, especially for the Black men who have suffered so much, we go through toxic masculinity just like all the other races, and then we got Blackness on top of it. So we've got a real heavy load, and we've got a lot of working to do. And I mean, I think that that's really what the source of my activism and my active spirit comes from, because of all the rage and violence of childhood. I was like, I got to do something with this feeling. This go somewhere. This has to be put out towards something useful. And I mean, like, if we're gonna stand in a line and go toe to toe with cops, that's a great outlet for personal anger at the abuse of being Black your whole life. Yeah. So, but
what? It's funny that you said that, because we're both doing the same thing because of all the violence of our childhood. And now look at it, we're two different archetypes here, but we are using that anger, that rage, that frustration, those feelings, those emotions to make a change in the world. Because goddamn it, they're gonna see this before I die.
Yeah, exactly. Not on my watch. But you also, as a healer, know that you can't keep those emotions in your body. And the problem with everybody else is that they're keeping emotions in our body. And I know it was hard. I know it's hard to be, the little Black gay boy, because I was too. But thank God you and I learned how to cry.
Yes.
Cannot cry, and they can't feel, and they can't love, and they don't know how. And it makes
it worse. It makes it worse. It makes the violence worse, because it's pent up, and they don't even see. Like, it's so crazy, because when the violence is exacted, they don't even see a human being, they see an object.
Right.
And that is the scariest thing. They will not stop because you are a human. They will not stop because of your cries. They will not stop because of your pleading. They see you as an object that must be destroyed. It's very sociopathic.
Yeah.
Sociopathic. There's no emotion there. And
but that's because
I was going to say, you didn't really say what I was just going to say, because of.
Well, I would say that stress is living in your body. Like you said, if you go like this your whole life, this is just how you feel. This, right now I feel that my hand is, if I was just clenched forever, I would think it was normal. But the whole time I'm tense, I'm carrying stress, I'm full of emotion, and I'm comfortable. So the first person that even makes me a slight and couple that with the inability to, once again, because we're not straight acting, which is like a huge blessing.
Yeah.
But it's a huge blessing. But like, male on male friendships, or just male, because straight men tend to not have female friends, because that's not how that works, and they can't really tell their truths to their male friends, so all they have is their girlfriend, who's also their girlfriend and their therapist. That's a recipe for disaster. So it's I mean, they have their own set of difficulties that they're facing, but you don't get to beat up on us because that, like,
no. What's so funny, I find that even when I'm not dressed like this, straight men can't get enough of me. They love to they love the voice, but then the mind what's coming out of the out of the vessel. They love it. And sometimes, and especially with the trauma that I've had, I don't want anything to do with them.
Right.
But they come to me, and it's so crazy because a lot of them, like I have friends, and one of my friends said, he was like, I know that's stressful. And I was like, what's stressful? He was like, you don't just attract gay men, you attract men.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if they're gay or they're straight, you attract men. Men are intrigued by you. They're intrigued by your thought process and how you move and speak and be. But, you know, at the same time, I find myself, like I said, in safe spaces, even with my career after 20 years, the last 6 years, this is the space I created to be able to be myself. And I bring people into my safe space so that they too can feel safe. And, you know, I get people, trust me, I get people asking me to come and speak and do this, that, and the other. And the first question I ask is, do you want the Queen of Shade? Do you want the full Queen of Shade? And naturally, because that is the brand that they have watched for the last 6 years, they're like, yes, honey, we want the hair, we want the dress, we want the makeup. And then the first thing I say to them before I even talk about money is, how much security can you afford?
Right.
That's literally it.
Right.
I need security from the time I land to go to my hotel room, because get it,
right.
Not just the people at the venue. People in this world have been watching me that I don't know.
On Instagram, any crazy can be like, oh, you're from Dallas? Okay.
Yeah.
And like you said, the haters will watch and try to find out what you do.
Yeah.
I had a group of people that I had been working with, you know, initially. We created a group home. And I was trying to help, you know, like 16, 17, 18-year-olds, you know, people that could work, but like get up and get out. It was a 6 month program. You know, it was an apartment. We would pay for half of it. You and your roommate would pay for the other half. You'd work 6 months, you get out, you give the house to the next person. 2 people just moved in and stayed there and became violent and terrible and threw dirt on my name when I finally like pulled the plug on the house, because it became a fucking trap house. Like, let's not mince words. It became a trap house. They were partying, they were drinking, they were hoarding the donations people were giving to me to give to the houses. They were hoarding the food that people were giving to me to give to the houses. And the reason why I kept them around for as long as I did is I had one young underage person, one 17-year-old girl that was, and so my apartment was, you know, 21, and the apartment that we got for them was 25. So the apartment was really for her because she can't work like the rest of them. You know, she's got to go to school, but like I talked to the mom, things were good. And you know, we had everything, you know, on the up and up. We had agreed. But what was really happening is when I was working my 1, 2, 3 jobs, these people were out partying, not doing anything, and letting these girls get drunk, doing cocaine in front of these girls in an apartment with my name on it. And so when I sent the girls home, I ousted them. We had them like taken out of the house. The eviction was they almost got the sex worker who put their name on the apartment to get them the place and help them evicted. And they almost gave her name a black mark because they did not want to leave. And then after, because I used to work with the Sound, and the Sound Miami was the project that I was really working on. It was making great strides here. I decided to close it because they tried to like steal it and use the page to get profits for themselves. So I shut it down, but any project I worked with after that, they found out and they commented. To this day, they comment on the things that I do.
So you know what you do, you keep doing it.
That's right. That's right. I know they were sick about that New York Fashion Week but I was like, yes. I was like, oh, you thought you destroyed my life. Whoops.
Wow. But isn't it funny that it's always the person that's helping you that you want to slay?
You know what I realized is that when people are like that weak, like you become so delusional.
Yeah.
You become so delusional.
You believe your own delusions. You believe your own delusions.
Right. And anyone who's helping you is not a kind person. You deserve to be helped. And this person should help you. And the second they stop helping you, it wasn't, oh, thanks for the help. It's like, bitch, do your job. Like, as if I'm their mother, you know, like it becomes expected. And you and I know that because I am sure that we are similar in this way. Even if you were in dire straits, you'd be real down before you ask somebody for help. You would have,
honey.
Right.
So you people are.
Right. Right. So we would never be that person. And that's why it's really hard to see that person coming, because I would never turn around. And they shot me with a taser. I would not, and I literally paid half their rent and my rent. like by out here shucking and jiving and selling stickers and selling t-shirts and doing all these things for the cause so we can have a nice house, we can have an education center, you know, we can start to help the kids. They shot my ass with a taser.
Oh my God.
And they tried to start a rumor that I wasn't Black. It was great.
But you know what's so crazy? You know what you have to do. You have to continue and you have to just go on.
Absolutely.
Because your brand will outlast and outlive them.
Absolutely. Well, I'm not even worried about them. Like I said, I closed that project and opened up a new one. I said, that one's tainted. Click.
Yeah. Yeah, but even then, I would still, like, once you can, I would reopen that one too.
Oh, thank you so much. Because I really loved it. I really loved it.
Yeah, you don't love somebody. That's one thing about, I think we all have that, but I think especially you and I think we will have this in common. It's because of all the violence, because of the childhood, because we had to learn how to self-love, because we had to learn how to self-actualize. You're not just gonna fucking run us off. You're not gonna just, the fight in us, you don't want that. You don't want the total gravity of the fight in us to come down on you. That would be a mistake. That would be a mistake. And I mean that with every full legal channel and everything. See, girl, like, it's so funny because I have haters that are still doing things, haters in Hollywood. And my thing is, I'm not getting out there to go beat a bitch ass. I'm coming down on you with the full extent of the law. What you're doing to me is called economic damage. That's why the lawsuits exist. Baby, I'm done with you. I'm gonna and that's the crazy thing. They think they're ruthless. Right. You ain't seen Ruthless. You ain't seen. I'm going to show you Ruthless.
Yes.
Oh yes, you ain't seen Ruthless. You ain't seen that because you don't know where the hell I came from. You see this pretty hair and these pretty shoulders and this little top, and you think, oh, this bitch is out. No. I fought tooth and nail to get to where I am. And you think I'm gonna let a bitch take me down? After I gave my life to this?
You better sing it. You are killing me softly.
Listen,
that's my life right there. I feel you.
Listen. It's so funny because you always, they say they mess with the wrong bitch. No, you got the right one. You got the right one on the right day.
Right.
Yeah, my grandmother says that to me all the time. She goes, the funny thing is they do all of this stuff because they tamper, they mess. My phones, my computers go, just all kinds of stuff start acting crazy. All kinds of hacking, my website. I have to get people on it and pay for this and pay for that. And she said, even with all that they're doing, she said, I'm just glad that they don't even realize that you could be more ruthless than they could ever imagine. And I said, but I don't show that side. Show that side.
Right. Because it's not, look, that is a fight or flight response.
Oh, thank you.
It's a fight or flight response. Look, it's there for a reason, but you're not supposed to use it all the time. That's the emergency button. But if somebody pushes you,
listen. I'm sick of people thinking that when a Black person talks like this, we mean take it to the streets. No, baby. My lawyer's on retainer. Don't play. And lawyers will get all the information. They will find out who hacked you. They will find out how they hacked you. They will find out where they hacked you. Like, no.
Okay.
No, I don't mean fight a bitch in the street, but don't try me. But no. Like, in doing this, one thing that this taught me was that this proved to me that I was a real man. Doing this, like this, proved to me that I was actually a real man.
Yes. Because you are living in your truth. You are being yourself. That's what a real man does.
And I handle my responsibilities. That's it. It ain't got shit to do with anything else. I handle my responsibilities. It's so crazy. I'm a dad to so many people and a mom to so many people.
Yeah. And all your bills are paid. You know what?
Yep. You got it. And they will be. They will continue to be.
That's right.
I don't like this. And my thing is, I'm so glad that you brought that up because I'm enraged because I didn't know. And that's the thing. Women, for some reason, have a problem with gay men. They think that we're competing with them for resources. What are the resources? Black, straight men. And it's like, no, we're not competing with you for resources. You just don't know that your man has an affinity or a liking to also be, he's not just heterosexual.
Right.
He's bisexual,
Like,
he's pansexual. You just don't know that.
problem in the Black community is blaming the gay person who is honest for the was dishonest.
Yes.
And that's because, like, how can you be tempted by someone who's not attracted to you? Because none of those women are tempted to leave their men for you. Mm-mm. So how can they blame your parents just magically take somebody who wasn't looking ever in their life suddenly away? That's bullshit. That's why we get abused and raped growing up.
Yeah.
Because they say, oh, it's you because you're over here being a sissy, when really, no, somebody should check the uncle.
We have the same story.
We all have the story, and it's sad. And it's sad. It's what we're playing with Barbies. Nobody can put their dick in your butt. Like, come on. Come on. Really? That's the best I come up with.
Wow.
I know.
Woo! Woo! Right. That was a mic drop.
Yeah. I came out.
Yeah, that was a mic drop, and I loved it. So, like you said, you're working on a new project. Did you tell us already? Because I kind of got caught up. Did you tell us already what it is?
It's an ongoing project, but when I met the people that were most supportive, financially and with the legwork, like I said, it was sex workers. It was there was a main one, Bruja 305, and we started 305 Bruja, and we started Decrim 305, and right now we're just trying to bring awareness. Now everything I do is about mutual aid. So even if this is sex worker specific, whatever focus, if there's a beach cleanup, if there's a youth project going on, like, I'm gonna find a way to be there. Maybe not with the kids so much because it's sex work, you can't conflate those two. But for example, this Sunday, we're doing in Overton, in collaboration with a couple of other groups, a Narcan demonstration. Do you know Narcan? God, hold on, I'm so excited.
Yes, tell us, show us.
So this is Narcan. Take a good look. I keep it all the time. And what it's for is if you see someone having a drug overdose, you pop it open, you check them out, and you up the nose because everyone's so messed up on fentanyl. So we're going to go out to the community and we're going to meet some of these people, and some of these people living in tents are sex workers. They have to have sex to survive. That's involved with drugs. We're going to go out there and make sure, that they got the needle exchange, they got their Narcan, they get some condoms, they get some things to help them out and some resources. So that's this Sunday. I'm trying to work on an event for Valentine's Day that focuses on queer love. Yeah. I got to get my friend on that. But, I've always got something coming down the pipeline. Like, this is probably, I took December and maybe most of January off because, like, I had quite a 2 years, as you saw. Yeah. It was a rough 2 years. Yeah. But I'm getting back into it now.
Good. And I'm so glad. And, and this is the thing. People look at Instagram and we see, oh, he's just a hot guy. That's what we see. But it's like, that's why I love doing these, because it just shows that, baby, that's a hot guy with a hot brain. And the brain is just, your brain is just, it's beautiful. It makes you even more beautiful. You're a beautiful man. But now we done talk to you. Lord, like you really have that's a complete person. That's a complete person. They can't compartmentalize that. Oh, well, it's just his legs or his abs or his ass or, no, that's a full person in there with full mind, and you're out to help. You're out to help. I said that in one of my quick videos today. I said, listen, I'm here to help you. When I did it, I didn't have no help, but now you have me.
That's what I'm talking about. Exactly. When you grow up, I always think about how they say, when you're abused as a kid, you grow up into abuse. And that was like burned into my head. And I was like, I cannot be that person. Right. I was like, if I turn around and do that same thing, then I'm doing it to myself. I was like, I've got to find a way to be another way. And I was just like, I don't know. And I just started helping people. And I just started helping people and helping people. And through that, I got into community planning, and it healed parts of me. You know, I saw the leaving my body when I was out there doing this work. I could feel myself healing. Yeah. So I'm so glad that I am out to help, because I think that has really defined and guided my character development. And, you know, like, you can't cheat an honest man. Like, I've missed a lot of because, you know, a lot of people out here scamming, you know, trying to be good, but like trying to get some money. And a lot of people came and offered me shady deals. And if I was the wrong type of guy, I would have got clapped on it. But it's just been fantastic. And I'm really happy that, like, I can follow that as my truth.
And, you know, my grandmother says this, she always says this: when you are abused as a child, you have two options. You become the abuser, like you said, you become the abuser, you carry it on, or you become the advocate. You have to stop it.
Yes.
And that's the thing. I too became that. I decided to share because this is the thing. Yes, we have gay boys that are being this, and women that are being this, but there are also straight boys being raped and molested.
Yes.
And to have to process that. And let me tell you something that I've learned in the phone sex industries, the sex work industry. My boss, who, Lord rest her soul, she was such a beautiful woman. She died of colon cancer a couple of years ago. But she had a degree in psychology. So she taught, I was very open to her teachings, whereas the girls that work there, they were trying to do it to survive, as was I, but it wasn't so degrading to me, because it was kind of like a fun exercise where the guy didn't know he was talking to a girl. The only people that knew that he was talking to a girl were the girls around me, you know, and they envied me for that. But she taught me that you have to be careful with a man, because once trauma is introduced into a man's life, two things can happen. They become the advocate for it, or it becomes their fetish. They have to relive it. So, you know, you will get, and that's why I'm very careful. That's also why I don't date, because people want this. They want this as their, you know, to fetishize it.
Right.
I'm not having sex in a dress and a wig. I'm not doing that.
Right.
So I noticed, even working with the men, that, you know, even if he was a straight man, if he had, and that was the thing, on those lines with your voice, and then they hear your mind, it was less about sex and more about therapy. So they would tell you things that they didn't tell anyone else. Right. And me, because of my voice, we all know my voice, I used to have men, the calls were a half an hour, 35 minutes. You wanted a man to call you for 35 minutes, and you had to keep him on the phone. You had a 4-digit code they could put in and get you. If you took 6 calls, that was your whole day. It was about 6 hours was the workload. So I had men call me 6 hours straight. One guy called me 6 hours straight, and we would have conversations. And I saw it in action, because he would say, you know, I'm a straight man, but I was raped by my uncle when I was younger. So, you know, I'm married. I have a wife, I have 3 daughters. Like, he would tell me all of that stuff. And he would say, but I go out, you know, when I travel to other, you know, states on business, and I get fucked by trannies. And, you know, and I would ask him, why?
Because they have to.
Right. And I know tranny is a bad word, so please forgive me, but transgender women. And I would ask him why. And he would say, because somewhere inside of me, I needed to survive. And get this, I knew he was telling the truth, because even when I was in college, we learned that your body makes biological adaptations to whatever's going on, even your trauma. I was a biology major, and we learned that. So get this, if you ever notice, if someone gets stabbed, you can't, and it's deep, you can't pull that knife out. You have to go to the hospital, and they have to surgically remove that knife. Why? Because your nerves start to knit around the knife.
Oy,
It becomes a
hard.
part of your body.
Mm, mm,
Bullets are the same way. You can't
right,
just dig a bullet out. It becomes a part of the body. The body says, okay, we didn't plan this. It hurt, but it's here
right,
and it's going to stay.
right.
It,
Because you've got to.
you got to survive. And that's what the human body does. We were all here to survive. We are built to survive. And the body, even without the person, the body will do whatever it has to do to survive.
And so then,
Including,
your point, if you take that analogy, imagine what your mind can do to that mental knife trauma. Because if
exactly.
attach yourself and your personality to that horror, and we see it all the time, with people that don't get help and want to relive the same situation because it's just, this is how I am. This is the only way I can be.
Yeah.
Because your neurons.
Yep. And the crazy thing is, they're right. This is who they are. And this is how they can be. And that's why, like, even with me, 15 years of therapy to undo. And I still, do you know, to this day, I have a problem with men. I have a problem with men being raped and molested. I was molested by a man, raped by a woman.
Oh my God.
In the same year. I was 8 years old.
My God.
Yes. And to this day, I just do not trust men because I have been bullied so badly. But, it's so crazy because even now, my doctor slid in under the radar. He, like, literally, my insurance provider was like, oh, your doctor's not accepting your insurance anymore, but we've gone ahead and we found you another primary care physician. And I look it up and it says a man, Sam, and I'm like, what the hell? Like, I'm like, no, like, but I say this for a reason. I let him in. He proved to be the best doctor I ever had. He found some situations, like I had high cholesterol because of the medication I was taking. I love seafood. He told me, you can have fish, you can't have shellfish. So he's like, you're not allergic to it, but you have to limit it. He said, you can eat it, but he said, if you eat it to excess, your heart's going to give out later. I was like, oh, well, no more shellfish for me.
Here that goes.
And just now, my psychiatrist, I have had the same psychiatrist for 15 years, a woman, and she messed up on my medication. And I couldn't understand why, because 15 years ago, she prescribed it. She was the
right
one, so she started messing up, and I had to call my primary care physician because all of a sudden she was not available, call her secretary, making all these mistakes. And I'm like, you made these mistakes. Then they wanted me to pay out of pocket for her mistake. So I was like, look here. I told my therapist, I need to change psychiatrists. And I went with a guy, and I have my first call with him in February. But we haven't spoken, but he took over the care of my medication. I ain't never missed a pill. It's always refilled. It's always on top. And I realized that. And that's the thing, because even with the men on my platform, I'm realizing that all men aren't bad, but I still like to keep my distance. Like, that's why I can never be, like, honestly, for me, and I'm just gonna be honest, I've never had a boyfriend. It was always a sexual encounter. And yes, that is how I learned to be. But after 15 years and now having the success that I have, I don't really want to have to choose between a man and my work ethic.
I mean, that's a tough one, because I want to say you don't have to, but you and I also know that that's a hard river to swim in. Like,
because you got to make time for him.
Yeah,
men are worse than women. You got to make.
Oh my! Like, literally, it's crazy. Like, as a person, you hear men complaining, women this, women that, and you're like, do you know what it's like to date a man? Do you know? Like, it's ridiculous.
Like, it is outlandishly ridiculous. So I don't want to do that to her. I don't want to. I was playing around on one of them little apps the other day, and it was like, you're going to get married at 60. I'm like, well, I'm 39, so we'll see, But, like, at first it was a bone of contention with me. Damn, I've never had a boyfriend. But then when I looked at my life and the trauma and what I was going through, there was no time for a boyfriend. There was no time. I met the love of my life in college.
Oh,
Love, and get it. He wasn't out. He was a football player. We
Oh,
we talked on the phone during the whole semester, 2 semesters, from like 7, 8 at night till 4 in the morning. He would sing to me. He couldn't sing. I remember to this day, it's been 22 years, and I remember his laugh in my ears. And then in 2008, I looked him up. He had just married his wife. They were
oh,
expecting, they were expecting their first child. And he honestly told me, he said, yes, I loved you. He said, but you moved on. And I did. I had to leave school. And
yeah,
he said, so I moved on. And he let me know I never found anyone I could talk to like I talked to you until I met my wife.
yeah.
So
That's awesome.
it was the right thing,
That's
you know,
right.
it was the
That's
right thing. So I said goodbye to him. And that was the end of it. And my thing is, I will always love him for what he showed me, because he treated me like royalty. He respected me.
yeah.
It wasn't, we never, get this. I was in school 2 years, talked to him the whole 2 years. We never even touched. We never even kissed. Like, it wasn't that kind of relationship. That's how
Yeah.
the
There
love.
was just a love.
Yes. And and listen, I would go wake him up in the morning. So he's a football player. So of course he's sleeping in bed with just some boxes on,
Right.
and gorgeous chocolate body. And I used to love it because I would wake him up because, see, people don't know about energy. He would be asleep. I wouldn't have to call his name. I would walk into his room, pull the chair over, and sit next to his bed and just wait. And he would naturally wake up because he could feel my presence in the room. And every time he woke up, he would always say, why are you looking at me like that?
Oh.
And I'm like, I would be so caught. I'm like, what do you mean? Like, but
Wow. Oh,
I was loving the man without touching him. And it was such an amazing love. And if I ever met a man in my future, I would want our relationship to be platonic. Platonic.
okay. I
Platonic.
mean, that's
I've had enough sex. I've had enough.
so you're like done for like life.
Yeah, I've had enough.
Wow. Okay. Well, good for you.
Yeah, I've had enough. Like, when I tell you, one summer I slept with 85 men. A summer is 90 days. Okay.
I love you.
Okay. Okay.
So you
Okay.
took off like
Yes. Yes. Okay. And the reason why was because when I started my sexual escapades, everybody had always said, you're feminine, you should be a bottom. So it like, I didn't like the sensation. I didn't like how it left me feeling. And
yeah.
then I realized I'm a blouse, I'm a feminine top.
Yeah.
And I met all those men that were like, here, I'm down for it. Come on. And
Right.
so I was addicted
So
to
you
being
with it.
allowed. Yes, being allowed to be myself.
Uh,
That's what I was addicted to, and giving them pleasure at the same time. So
that's funny. That's kind of what happened to me because I just assumed because I'm cute. I was cuter when I was younger because you're adorable. That I just thought all young people were bottoms and all old people were tops. So I,
oh my God.
like, yeah, I just thought you grew into the role. So I was like, all right, it's my turn now. And like in like 10 years, like I'll be on the other side. And then I met a guy and he was like, no, he was like, I want to be on the bottom. And I was like, you want to be on the bottom? Because like I said, no one talks to us.
Right.
No one tells people things. They just meet strangers on the internet because no one's helping us. So he was like, yeah, I want to be on the bottom. And I was like, oh. And I was like, every time? And he was like, yeah, every time. And I was like, oh, this is great. I was like, this is fantastic. And that's how I learned.
That's what happened. You be every time. I'm like, oh, this is fantastic. So that's what happened. That's what happened. I found 85 men. Some of them were repeats. But I found 85 men, and it was amazing.
Good for you. Wow, you were going.
I had them all. Listen, one day I slept with a man that was speaking Portuguese. Then the next day I had a man that was speaking French. Like, I was living
a world tour.
Yes, I was in the world tour and didn't even leave my house.
That's right. Wow, you saw the whole world.
Good for you. I did. And because I think with all of the success coming from all of the derailment and all of the anger and frustration and learning so much about myself, I think and I feel that, you know, I actually, now get this, this is a fun fact, but it was true. I trained myself to be able to have sex for a long time. So yes, so this was the thing. They always climaxed before I ever did.
Right.
And this was the thing. I used to get angry if I climaxed. I felt vulnerable. And it reminded me that I didn't know him enough to be vulnerable with him, that I had just met him. So it would make me angry. So I would go until they climaxed and never climax.
Because you didn't want to give that to anybody. This was just about you like asserting yourself, but not giving any of the vulnerability, all of it.
I literally would wait till they were gone and pull out my favorite porn. And then I would take care of myself.
You were like, it was fine. Like, it wasn't.
And I had great experience. The sex was amazing. The sex was amazing. Like, it literally was. They were never dissatisfied. I was never dissatisfied. I just couldn't come with them. I just couldn't come with them.
Hey, it'd be that way sometimes.
Yeah.
It'd be that way sometimes. But I'm glad that, like, you know, like you're saying that you're kind of done with sex, and we're also acknowledging the bisexuality of men, because I think that is where a lot of this violence comes from.
Yes.
Is that guy can like guys and girls. That's like a huge problem in this world.
Yes.
And, you know, like, so I'm glad that, you know, it's not just gay or straight or lesbian or like all of the identity, even becoming asexual, gray sexual, demisexual. So we're saying, hey, there's not just one way to have sex. There's not just two ways to have sex, actually. There's a whole bunch. Yeah. So let's just relax.
Yeah, I only have sex with deities now.
There you go.
As spiritual encounters. So no, I'm joking. I'm joking. Don't believe me. Don't believe me. I'm like, don't you believe me? That sounds crazy. Don't believe me.
Look, you can have a very cathartic experience. You call that a orgasm. I've had things like I'll tell you, because a lot of this really, a lot of my attention towards women started when my sister was tragically murdered at a young age. When I was, and I was just like, men can't be out here acting like this. You know, I just like really took it to heart. And after doing all of these things that I was out here doing, you know, just trying to do it, my friend sent me a video by Sean King, and she said, look at this. And in the first 5 seconds, it was me. And I felt like my sister came and put like a hand on like my little shoulder. And she was like, you did all the work you need to do. Like, I'm still doing what I can, but it's like overtime now. Like, I felt that weight lift off me.
Mm-hmm. I was just getting ready to tell you, I'm a shaman. Your sister said to me that she was proud of you.
I know she is.
Yeah.
I know she.
And when shamans speak, it's not the first. It shouldn't be the first time you heard it. It should be a confirmation. So you know it already. But
I know.
Your sister said to me she's very proud of you.
I know. I love her. She does. She's everything that I do. I think about her at least every time I see a butterfly.
Yes.
Because that's my sister. So if the butterfly goes right, I'm like, let me walk around this corner just in case something magical happens. It probably won't, but
keep following those butterflies.
That's right.
Yeah, give me 3 words that inspire you, empower you.
Let's see. Compassion, fortune, bravery.
Yeah. Bravery. That's a real big one with me too.
You have to be brave. It's just because it's like a person who's afraid feels fear and does. A person who is brave also feels fear but does something.
Yep.
So like, why would you just feel that awful feeling and just sit in there?
Right.
You've got to fight it.
Right. Please tell everyone where they can find you on social media.
Oh, my old name was so much cuter. It was easier to find, but it's account of Jonni Cristo, like the Count of Monte Cristo, because you know I love me good French revenge.
Yeah.
So, yes, the account of Jonni Cristo, or you can look at Decrim305 on Instagram. I aggregate all of my stuff. If you're in Miami and you ever have like a social project that you want to work on, hit me up, because now I know all the people that do all the things in individual, you know, mutual aid brackets. So let me know. Like you said, I'm out to help.
Yeah. I'm going to put it all under the video. I just wanted you to say it. Thank you so much for this beautiful conversation.
No, I'm so
beautiful conversation. You were saying I'm so what?
I was so delighted to be here with you. Like I know what you're doing and I'm rooting for you and you're fantastic. And, you know, you tell a great story and you live a great life and you're in your truth. So I'm here for it.
Thank you. Thank you so much. All right, ladies and gentlemen, you have heard the vocal stylings of Mr. Jonathan Gartrelle. Say goodbye, but don't go anywhere.
See y'all. Thanks for watching.
Yeah.
Make sure to follow the Queen of Shade trademark.